This video is presented by mybookie.ag. What's up guys? So UFC Fight Night happening on Fight Island again, and we have a full house on this one, man. 15 fights on the entire card. I believe that is the record. I believe it tied the record for most fights on a single UFC card. There's a lot of interesting fights. A lot of fighters from the UK are actually on this card, but many different backgrounds, many different experience levels, skill levels, something for everybody. Starting with Nathaniel Wood, who's starting off the entire card. Mavsar versus Mike Grundy is an extremely skillful fight. Mike Grundy is a high-level wrestler coming from the UK, as well as some athletic ability in his striking, but Mavsar is a much more well-rounded fighter, has everything in the toolbox, then that should make for an explosive fight. And the return of Big Khabib. Khamzat Chimaev is making the quickest turnaround in UFC history. I believe 8-day turnaround or something like that. And now he's going to be fighting Rice McKee. Khamzat is definitely somebody that everybody's looking out for. I do believe Khamzat is going to win that fight handily. I was going to break that down a little bit more, but I think we all pretty much expect how the fight's going to go down. So we're going to go right to Fabricio Werdum versus Alexander Gustafsson in the heavyweight division. This is a move that Gustafsson needed to take if he wanted to continue his career. I mean, he's contemplated retirement, 5, 10, 20 times already, and he's made another comeback at a heavier weight class, but I believe he's going to be more effective here than he was at 205, which is saying something. You know, fighting John Jones twice for the belt, fighting Daniel Cormier for the belt, beat some good guys in that division, and was sought as, you know, one of the best fighters to never win a UFC title. Maybe not because of his record and accomplishments, but more so because of his skills and how he's able to compete with everybody outside of Anthony Johnson. And this is a very good fight for him, going to the heavyweight division, fighting a old Fabricio Werdum. Werdum got outclassed in his last fight where he shouldn't have. I mean, he was known to be the better striker when he fought Alexei Olenek, but he still got bombarded on. He couldn't get past the barrages. The wild striking was too much for him. If wild striking, haymakers, and looping long punches are going to make him wither under the pressure like that, what is a technical boxer like Gustafsson going to do? A faster and more powerful puncher than Alexei Olenek. Gustafsson just has a very good style against Werdum. He has impeccable takedown defense. I mean, his takedown defense is so solid. It takes guys like John Jones and Daniel Cormier to briefly put him on his back. Jones did it once where he got him down and held him down, but I believe it was also a mix with his groin injury in the fight that kind of disrupted his balance there. And Fabricio Werdum is not that good of a takedown artist. He's not near the striker Gustafsson is. He doesn't have the power Gustafsson has. He has nowhere near the raw speed Gustafsson has. So my prediction for this fight, I gotta go with Alexander Gustafsson. I understand he took some time off, and you know, going in and out of retirement can do a number on your mentality. The thing is though, Werdum is not the same fighter either. I mean, his age has definitely impacted him, as well as that long layoff because of the USADA violation. Who knows if that's going to keep carrying on. So my prediction for this fight, I'm going to go with Alexander Gustafsson. I am going to go by a second round TKO. I don't think Werdum has the chin anymore, man. I don't think he's going to be able to take too many of those crisp, precise punches that Gustafsson is able to put on him, especially when he starts stringing them into combinations. I don't think Werdum is going to be able to keep up with it. And then we go to the co-main event, Mauricio Shogun Rua versus Antonio Nogueira, the third time. This is the third time they're fighting each other. Shogun already beat him twice, way back in Pride, then in the UFC not too long ago. And to be honest, I don't think there's going to be much different in this one because they are both way over the hill. I mean, we got Nogueira who's pushing 50 almost, you know? And Shogun is significantly younger than him, but still old as well for the fight game. And at this stage, I don't think they're going to learn anything new. I don't think there's going to be much adjustment given their age, right? It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. So I do see this fight being very similar to the last one, which wasn't that long ago. Shogun is just a better, more effective striker. Nogueira has respectable boxing. He shoots down the pipe a lot more than Shogun does, and when they meet each other, Shogun should get hit. But the thing about Nogueira is, his defense is so lacking. He doesn't move his head at all, barely blocks. He parries okay, but Shogun's swinging hooks and haymakers that get his head off center line. At least he moves his head, right? At least he gets off center line, where Nogueira is going to be in the line of sight of all of Shogun's attacks. The big thing for Shogun is the leg kicks. The leg kick is going to demoralize and destroy the base of Nogueira. It's going to be harder for Nogueira to start sitting on his punches and providing more power in them. And not just that, Shogun is going to win the far range battle, where Nogueira is going to have to find his way in mid-range, but even there, Shogun just proves to be more powerful and more dangerous. So my prediction for this fight, I don't think it's going to be anything different. I'm going to go Shogun Rua, but this time I'm going to go by a second round knockout. Both their chins are shot, and I think if Shogun lands a clean one, Nogueira might not be able to get up from it. Then we go to Robert Whittaker versus Darren Till, a highly anticipated fight. The winner might get a title shot. We have to see what happens to Jared Cannonier, as well as what's going to happen with Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. If Darren Till wins, he probably will get a title shot. Again, we don't know what's happening with Cannonier. But these two guys are amazing strikers. Robert Whittaker might have the wrestling advantage. We still haven't seen him go to it offensively, even though he's been training so much of it. Right, he's actually been competing in wrestling and been doing very well. I think he competed in the Commonwealth tournament, and I would like to see him show a bit of that and not just go with the same kind of techniques he's usually going with. Mix it up with wrestling will really throw off Darren Till in this fight because we've never seen it. The first time he's going to show his wrestling is going to be the most effective time he's going to show his wrestling. But the striking match between these two is going to be amazing, man. We got decent counterpuncher in Robert Whittaker versus great counterpuncher in Darren Till. We have great offensive striker in Robert Whittaker versus decent offensive striker in Darren Till. They both share a similarity in that when they're moving forward, they are a bit vulnerable. They do get hit. More so Darren Till because he really goes with one attack. He throws either a jab / long lead uppercut or that big left hand. Whatever he's doing, his head is on the center line and he's moving forward. His movements before he commits with his punches can be a bit tricky. He changes angles, moves laterally, linearly, he moves all different kind of directions, but when he's committing for his punch, he's always moving forward. Always moving straight forward. And this is why people are able to wait for him and then counter him when they see he's going to commit with the left hand. Just like Tyron Woodley did, Jorge Masvidal did the same thing. Kelvin Gastelum was looking to do that, but Darren Till changed up his game a bit and became a lot more defensive. He's a lot more responsible when he's being defensive and trying to counter than he is being offensive. The best quality about his offensive striking are he has a really good jab, but also his ability to cut off the octagon is among the best. I mean, he zones you into space so well. It's his footwork that gets you caught by the left hand. Not necessarily his left hand is so good. It is, but his footwork is very much underrated. For an example, Jorge Masvidal, when he got dropped in the first round, he didn't credit the left hand of Darren Till as the reason why he got caught. It was his footwork. He said he did not notice Darren Till move off on that angle so suddenly to land the left hand. His left hand is the same everywhere he goes. Back, forward, left, right, always the same. It's this movement that tricks you and gets you to fall into it a lot easier. But he's a lot better with it as a counterpuncher. He's a lot more efficient as a counterpuncher with that left hand than moving forward because he gets so vulnerable. Robert Whittaker, when he's moving forward, his blitz are a bit overwhelming. I mean, he's able to get on you so quickly. His explosive movement is so fast and dangerous. He's able to catch people very unexpected because he explodes at very unexpected moments. His footwork is not a constant motion like a Darren Till. It's more in increments. It's a lot more in intervals. He explodes in intervals. He's kind of bouncing from the outside and then decides to explode on you, but there's a bit of trickery midst blitzing, right? When he's charging at you, sometimes he'll stutter step halfway in. Sometimes he'll change the angle halfway in. Sometimes he'll stop and change his tempo, right? He explodes suddenly, and then he slows it down halfway, gets you to react, throw a punch out there, and now he's coming up with the right high kick at you as you leave yourself open. But the thing is, if Robert Whittaker misses his punches or misses his kicks, that's when he's vulnerable. That's when he gets hit. He stays in the pocket too long. He stays in close too long. And you see Yoel Romero drop him. You see Israel Adesanya pretty much knock him out twice in one fight. You see Stephen Thompson TKO him for this. He drops his defenses when he's in too close. This is why Darren Till is going to have the advantage in close range, and Robert Whittaker is going to have a little bit of an advantage at long range. So what I'll say is, in close, Darren Till has big advantage. Long range, Whittaker is going to have an advantage, but with some difficult. But the fact that the fight is going to be more long range than short range is going to give Whittaker more opportunities to set up for things and find his shots. And here's the other thing, man. Darren Till's amazing at being patient. He's amazing at countering. He's amazing with ducking in under your explosion, bumps into you or catches you in a clinch, and that's where you can start mixing up with his Muay Thai. In a way, shutting down a lot of the explosions of Robert Whittaker. A big thing going for Darren Till as well is the pressure. The more he pressures Robert Whittaker as Whittaker wants to stay away to find his opening to explode, Darren Till is going to start limiting the space for Robert Whittaker to work with. The closer Whittaker gets to the cage, the less space he has to work with, and that's where Darren Till is going to be able to start cutting off the cage, trying to find the left hand, pressure, make Whittaker uncomfortable, bait him to force out some explosions, and then counter with the left hand. And the other thing is, Darren Till has a better chin. I would say Whittaker is a little bit tougher. Whittaker may be a little bit more powerful. The speed is going to be relative, but Darren Till seems to be a little bit more comfortable however the fight could play out. So that goes right to my prediction for this fight. My prediction, it's so close. It's so hard to call, and I believe my bookie also has it like close to a pick'em, which I can agree with. My prediction for this fight, I'm gonna have to go with Darren Till. I think his counterpunching may be a little bit too strong late in the fight, not early. Early, I think it's gonna be a little bit more of a feeling out process. Whittaker is gonna be attacking more. And because he's gonna be attacking more, Darren Till is gonna have more opportunities to counter him. And even from far out, Darren Till does have those side kicks to the knee, and that can limit the movements and lessen the explosions from Robert Whittaker. So I'm gonna go with Darren Till. I'm gonna go by a 4th round TKO. And like I said, man, there's a lot of fights on this card. It's gonna be a very long night. So many fights to go through, so many ways to win, and so many ways to bet on the fights with mybookie.ag. No one gives you better lines and more ways to win than they do. Submissions, knockouts, draws, which rounds. You don't have to pick a specific winner. MyBookie gives you so many options. And if you're the kind of person that likes to bet a little but win a lot, you could try a parlay. Pick fighters that you think are gonna win, put them in a lineup so you could possibly multiply your winnings. And also there's big news. The MLB is returning this week and the NBA is returning next week. MyBookie's gonna be on top of those as well, so you can go even bet on those sports as well. All you gotta do is go to mybookie.ag and sign up for the deposit bonus. You get a first free deposit bonus where MyBookie will match up your first deposit halfway all the way up to $1,000. That means if you deposit $200, you get $100 in free money to play with. All you have to do is use the promo code WEASEL to activate this offer. That's promo code WEASLE to take advantage of MyBookie's sign up offer. Sign up with mybookie.ag today where you bet, you win, and when you win, you get paid. To be honest, there's not a lot of fights I disagree with the betting odds. Nathaniel Wood is a minus 530 favorite, and we know the last time he was a big favorite, he got TKO'd by John Dodson. Never a good thing to make a young prospect that big of a favorite. Mike Grundy is a plus 160 against the minus 195 Movsar. I think it's a lot closer than that, man. I understand Movsar is a little bit more well-rounded. If it goes to the ground, he has submission abilities. He's a little bit more polished on the feet, but Mike Grundy's wrestling is very strong and he's very powerful with his hands as well. So I think it's a little bit too big of a gap there. And again, man, everything I just pretty much agree with. So I hope you guys enjoyed the predictions. If you did, make sure to thumbs up. If you enjoyed my content, make sure to subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the podcast tomorrow.